as well, Ankey. I mean, when you look around it, it's as if we are a country that is trying to find direction. But for us here on the Morning Drift, we do know exactly what's going to happen today.
Yes.
We do have that particular direction all the way to noon today. And Ankey, a lot more planned. By the way, what do we expect today for the Morning Drift? That is your conversation, your big conversation this morning.
Well, it's always inspiration, mentorship, life development, you know, building yourself and getting to know your values, everything about coaching today. I can't wait to have that sit down with Frida. We'll be talking about the mindset, all right? The mindset and inspiration of an overcomer. And yes. I can't wait. It is something I've always wanted to talk about. We talk about this every single day, but we want to actually understand even further from her perspective how this is not something to say, but actually live, all right? Now we begin to actually walk the talk. So join us 10 to 11 a.m. for an overcomer's mindset and inspiration conversation between 10 and 11 a.m. Simba, something is going on with the state of the shilling and much more matters business. What do we expect between 11 and 12 today on Look at Business?
That's the thing. Yesterday, we did attend an event by the Kenya Revenue Authority,
yes,
soon to become Kenya Revenue Services. Ankey, you and I did not agree on renaming it into
Absolutely
services,
not.
whether it will make it softer or not. Yes, we do have the chairman and the commissioner, Gadimburu, headlining Look at Business Day. They did answer a lot of questions from us at that particular event. And again, Ankey, yesterday they launched KRA TV, which they're saying is going to be used to come in and educate Kenyans on the essence of tax and tax issues so that everybody then in the country is tax literate. Now, you do know that the current president, William Ruto, did say, lazima tukusanye ushuru tujitegemee.
And I think
then Githimburu said,
yes,
let's educate you then so that we can collect this tax, so that we can sustain ourselves. That coming all from 11 to 12. And by the way, Ankey,
yes,
that we can now import GMO food into this country. That ban that was instated by the former president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, has been officially lifted by current president William Ruto.
Isn't it a bit interesting how he keeps on doing pretty much the opposite of the former regime, where he was deputy president at the time? But anyway, I don't know what you think of the GMO. If you're watching from back at home, let us know what your thoughts are, even as we battle the food insecurity in the country. Could this be the solution? All right, we are live on Facebook right now at Lookuptv across all the social media platforms, and we always encourage you to bring out your voice and engage with us on each of these conversations. Simba, also today, the power struggle has already sacked in the National Assembly, where Speaker Moses Wetangula with the Kenya Kwanza camp is keen to, of course, the Kenya Kwanza camp is keen to have Wetangula rule in their favor. Now, the first business of the National Assembly following its official opening last Thursday shall be to form House Business Committee, HBC. Now, all eyes are on the National Assembly today, Azimio insisting we are the majority. Kenya Kwanza also saying, well, we don't have to argue about this. We're pretty much the majority. A lot going down right now, even in the dailies and what is trending on social media. And I'm very excited about how this show is packed today. So don't be one person who's going to miss everything that's about to turn out in the next 3 to 4 hours.
By the way, we should be telling you exactly also how the president, William Ruto, is saying with only 3,000 bob,
yes,
it's going to be possible to own a house. And then Ankey, I don't know whether you saw that video from Kisumu, where residents were telling him, "We bwana, sisi tuko na barabara hapa, tuko na manyumba. Kama unataka kuongea mambo ya security, enda Nandi. Kama unataka kuongelea watu wako na njaa, enda Turkana." By the way, we're going to headline that, but probably even have that conversation because majority of members affiliated to ODM did not attend that event. And then residents took over and told them, "Sisi tuko sawa bwana. Enda Nandi ushughulikie mambo ya security."
Very interesting. Well, as much as that is happening, we'll also be talking about the Linduri sex assault case that has so far been dropped. This is the Morning Drift. We'll be right back with the review. Year 2022, to be more accurate, it is a Tuesday. October is just beginning, but quite a number of things are rising, especially on current affairs. I'm holding the Daily Nation. Simba, there is something going on in the education sector. I want to appreciate how you began this show today, mentioning a bit of confusion here and there in almost all sectors. And we're seeing on this particular daily a lot of things covering up on this front page. But schools send students home for fees. Tough times, Simba, very tough times for parents as well, having in place the calendar that has been quite, I don't know how to call this, but tough on parents. Very short breaks, very high fees, increment due to the different economic harsh times, the inflation. And we're seeing thousands of learners have been sent home for non-payment of school fees just a few days after schools reopened for third term last week. School principals said that the institutions are cash-strapped, even as the government clarified that it had released capitation funds for the institution. So it is quite something where principals are saying we cannot be able to sustain these children. Parents are saying we don't have the money yet. You know how short the holiday was, a week thereabout, and very high school fees right now. But of course, they're saying the government had brought out some clarity saying it had released capitation funds to the institutions. Now, what is the contention? Read more on the Daily Nation. And also, right here, as I mentioned, there's the state of the shilling that is taking center stage on the Daily Nation. Let me just read a bit of that, Simba, if you allow me. They're calling that economic crisis. Now, limping against the dollar and other benchmark international currencies, facing an uncertain future as inflation hits a 63-month high and battered by high global crude oil prices, the Kenya shilling is on a free fall. Its value so uncertain that banks were yesterday hoarding dollars and causing a biting forex shortage that affected trade and risk lifting the inflation figures further. I'll go into politics, Simba, but I'd love to give that to you. So you might want to touch a bit on what you think on the shilling update, and then I will come back to the center stage headlines as far as politics is concerned. Simba.
By the way, on that particular one, we did see also the Central Bank of Kenya be very clear on exactly what has been going. For them, they're quite clear on it, that we should be at around 120. But then, Ankey, what happens is that when you have a biting dollar shortage in the country, you will say, right now when majority of businesses are picking up, because they were not trading during the election period, you see now during this period when there's a high demand for the dollar, majority of people then would tend to hoard it. That's why you want to go to a bank or any exchange bureau that will sell it to you at the price they feel, because it's 120. And by the Ankey, that's quite high, considering that in January we were talking about 102, 103, 104. Okay. All right. Now, here's the thing. You will get it at 128, 126, 127, all the way up to 129, depending on where you're getting it from. The Central Bank of Kenya has no way to control who is going to get the dollar and by what price. The only thing they say, it should be at this one. But then it's the business of business. If you don't want it, go back with it.
Quite interesting. Allow me to read some other highlight here, just because you mentioned a bit of a history there. And value of the shilling against the dollar yesterday, marking a 6.7% drop since the start of the year, when it stood, that is what I was saying, at 113 shillings, and forcing the country to pay more on external debt and traders to mark up their goods. So really, it is something that someone might want to actually look at and read about. Yes.
Pretty much. Do I look at the standard?
Yes, please.
Great. A couple of headlines that are splashed all over. I like the way they've decided to pick this bigger headline, where Ruto returns to GMOs in face of food crisis. And what they're saying, and this is the kicker, with more than 4 million Kenyans on the brink of starvation, the cabinet decided that lifting the ban, increasing irrigation and diversifying crops will be the long-term solution to the perpetual problem. This is what they're saying. You read that story on pages on page 10, where they'll give you a journey that the country has taken from 2000, where we signed the Cartagena Protocol on a biosafety that was ratified in 2003, up to where we are right now in 2022, where we are lifting the ban on GMOs. Again, on page 8 of the Standard, read that story on how rectangular faces a litmus test over majority ruling, by the way. We're going to see exactly what it does. And then pages 3 of the Standard on how the fuel subsidy and a scarred industry that is affecting Kenyans. By the way, we're going to give you that story on how Githimburu yesterday said that the petrol prices in the country are exempt of excise duty because of the high cost of living in the country. Read that story on page 3 of the Standard. And then we're going to talk about this story again that we've been talking about. Lose Canon Gachagua and his many misses. Again, the Central Bank of Kenya was forced to clarify a statement that Gachagua made on Citizen TV when he said that they had no control over the forex reserves, by the way, which are quite healthy. They're standing at 4.64 worth of input cover as of September 26th. Read that story as well on the Standard. Ankey, I gotta take your sentiment on this. We've been speaking about how Gachagua has been
begin by being understanding.
After being a member of parliament for only 5 years.
Yeah, so you understand, quite a journey for him. I don't know if I should reserve my comments.
Are you trying to say is when he's learning the craft?
You get into royalty. Okay, listen, let's just give it time. I'm trying to be easy on the deputy president here. Kenyans can observe, make the observations. They're going to go hard on him on social media, I can tell you that for sure. They started way earlier. And I think, you remember when the former CJ Maraga, you know, when he was new on the Supreme Court, and Kenyans got to him on Twitter, and what the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, told him then, he said, you know, this is what happens with Kenyans when they have to correct you the harsh way. So I think that's pretty much the journey for Deputy President Gachagua. Some people have even asked if he actually does have some of his stuff written down for him, as should be done for diplomats and dignitaries. But some also saying that's just his style of leadership, and he's a pretty much, you know, unscripted leader. But Simba, if we are still just going to be on politics, like I mentioned earlier on, Raila versus Ruto is making headlines on the Daily Nation on as far as the D-Day in battle for parliament is concerned. They're saying President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza and Mr. Raila Odinga's Azimio are today headed for a major clash in the National Assembly over the leader of majority in the House after both camps, of course, staked their claim to the position. So if I just read a number here, a few digits to, you know, be conversant or make the viewer more conversant on the battle of numbers and supremacy, we're looking at 349 number of members of parliament in the National Assembly. Azimio claims it has a majority, that is 185 members against Kenya Kwanza's 164. But the president's camp insists it has 177 lawmakers on its side against the rivals' 172. Interesting there. So we're about to see how it turns out. But Simba, if you allow me also to touch on something here that is causing uproar on social media. And last time we spoke, Simba, about Kenyans not being attacked on Twitter, like KOT is untouchable. And now they are on this particular story as well. Museveni's son, you know, on page 2 of the Daily Nation, let me just read the headline as it is. They're saying Museveni's son causes a storm. Literally. Now, Uganda President Yoweri Museveni's son, Muhozi.
But can you say it? Can you say that name again?
Is it Muhozi or
no, you say
come
like
on, I'm not Ugandan.
Ankey Dorice so bad.
Is it Muhozi?
No.
Muhozi?
No.
But it is M-U-H-O-O-Z-I.
Can you try to say it like a Ugandan?
No, come on, just go easy. Let's get the story.
All right, check the story.
On Monday, he caused a storm on Twitter after declaring that he would only need 2 weeks to capture Nairobi. We're going to be seeing that on What's Trending as well. We're about to wrap this up, but of course, we are also seeing something to do with Linduri's case. Those are some things that are also trending on social media. So allow me to just say you need to grab a copy of your dailies and get more informed. It's interesting on the dailies today, is it not, Simba?
Is it going to be? That's it, including a very interesting story here as we wrap up this on etiquette. Listen, on page 3 of the Standard, from holding a knife like a spear, chewing noisily, and other don'ts of fine dining. The president has even spoken about that, so hopefully the next time we see them have a luncheon as the Kenya Kwanza government, majority of them will be knowing how to eat.
Please do not be indirect.
Like isn't it?
We know who you're saying.
No. Just gonna leave it there, Ankey.
Yeah,
now,
we should.
Here's the thing. We take a short break. Once we come back, we'll be telling you much more about, now Ankey, listen, Muhozi.
I said it like that.
No.
I said Muhozi.
Once we come back.
All right, welcome back. Thank you very much for beginning the day with us. We're trusting the energy is just right for you. Information, like we continue to say, is power, and so is your voice. Please find us on social media at Lookuptv across all social media platforms. Now, besides what's happening on the dailies, of course, you can capture that as we go. Let's cross over to social media, where we're saying now there is practically a storm. We're seeing Uganda versus Kenya. We're seeing Nairobi there. Just, guys coming out to say, well, why don't you try capture us in 2 weeks? Let's see how it goes. And Simba, you say there's a proper way to pronounce this Ugandan name. With all due respect, Museveni's son has come out to say he only needs 2 weeks to capture Nairobi. Is it also the same, gentleman who said if former President Uhuru Kenyatta would run the 3rd time, Kenyans would then really vote him seamlessly. So pretty much, Simba, that is trending. Before I go in to actually pick these tweets, what are your thoughts now that you're very good at correcting me on how to pronounce the Ugandan names?
I don't know whether I don't know whether he was joking or by the way, here's the thing.
Was he joking?
Kenyans and Ugandans, we are friends.
Are we?
I'll tell you that. Yeah, you just gotta borrow what happens every time we have a big function where we have to invite our counterparts from East Africa. Museveni always speaks. Ankey, I will take you back to our former president Kibaki's inauguration in office, or swearing in office. Museveni spoke when we did have our former president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta. He spoke about it, and then he spoke in the country and address Kenyans. Again, when we did have our current president, William Ruto, he also spoke. And the thing is, we are friends. And I don't know whether he was joking, because later on, Muhozi followed that tweet with another tweet by saying, Kenyans, let's work together and make East Africa great. So you're sort of wondering, so you want to capture us, or you
want to make us great?
You want us to work together? Is it work together under capture?
Quite interesting, and someone would actually question his sentiment,
Yeah.
Someone would also question.
Have you watched a comedian called KK? Wasn't it? Ankey, have you? You haven't? There's a comedian called KK, KK mwenyewe, who sort of imitates Rigathi Gachagua.
Oh.
He uses one
I know Terence.
Yeah, he uses one punchline. Please go watch him. Is it?
So there's KK, then there's Terence.
That's it. It's like,
okay.
It's like, wow, this is state capture. So that's what Muhozi wanted to do.
Interesting, and of course that tweet by Muhozi now is still trending. Big tweet there. If I would just pick a few replies, Simba, from Kenyans, oh my goodness. I don't know if I should read this, but that's the fun of what's trending. Sedaula Mwangi at Mwangi Simon, just replying to him saying, Simba, should I read this?
Please do.
It is not respectful at all. Replied to him and said, you first need to capture your your dad's tailor.
Yeah, but that's okay. Would you say
how is the tailor, related to capturing a city? Because
the suits that Museveni puts on, for lack of a better word, they were the ones from the Rigathi Gachagua before when he was State House. Yeah.
Okay. And of course,
yeah, let's be proud of it. Yeah, I mean, if it's not fitting, it's not fitting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, a lot of replies coming there. Bobby Wine replied as well. I'm just about to get that tweet.
Yeah, I actually have it.
Oh, please read it,
Yeah.
Simba.
This is what he said, and I will read it in entirety.
Okay.
Dear Kenyans, you now understand what it means to live in Uganda under Museveni and his son, whom he gifted the highest military ranks and put him in charge of our land forces. Sadly, beneath the senseless tweets lies a monster who brutalizes and tortures our people for fun. We don't have that tweet. You can also read it with us. That was Bobby Wine's response to Muhoozi's tweet about capturing Nairobi in less than 2 weeks. So we're thinking 14 days, less than 14 days?
Yeah, which is quite something. And you know, Simba.
Ankey, where did he come from?
Simba,
what agitated him? Does that talking about capturing
the
Nairobi?
picture we see trending is him having a good time with former president.
Yeah.
So there is no agitation. And someone would ask Bobby Wine in Kenya, someone would ask Bobby Wine, come on, if Kenyans would relax, why would we do jokes?
Right.
Why would we do jokes?
Why would we jokes?
So, pretty much, that is one of the things trending right now. But I've seen a tweet here that has caused me to actually touch on something on the High Court ruling just, I think, yesterday. Yeah. And Gabriel Ogunda has tried to make fun of Sakaja's reign as well, indirectly here, saying the only thing Ugandans can capture from Nairobi is the fake certificate they gave our governor. You know? I'm like, why would that resurface right now?
And maybe we should talk about this some other time, because then the court also did rule that we don't need. You don't need degrees. I was very annoyed.
Why you? I thought you would be.
You do not need a certificate. You don't need a degree to be a governor.
Simba.
Then why do we have schools for? Anyway, Ankey, let's move on to
another.
Yeah, because if we start that, I'll rant here for the next 2 hours.
I can imagine.
Proper content for the next 2 hours on that. So, Ankey, by the way, why are we going to school though?
Sorry?
Then kill schools if you don't need them. I remember Parliament does not need a degree. A governor does not need a degree. Now they'll come in and say a doctor doesn't need a degree. So
but
let's
Simba, I
kill
thought we agreed to let it go.
Anyway, let's let it go. Anyway, can we move on to another ruling that the courts made? Was it yesterday?
Yes, and this is
CS Agriculture, incoming CS Agriculture. That is Midika Linduri.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be arrested now, because apparently the case now is going to be settled out of courts. So we'll never know the details. It starts there, ends there, isn't it?
Yes.
Ankey, what is your take on that? Because then this is an active case, and this guy was picked as the CS.
And then suddenly, boom.
Is it? Are we throwing integrity into dustbins and rubbish bins and saying, well, we don't care about that? Because then, shouldn't that have been, Ankey, from where you and I are sitting? Even if Ankey, you are my best friend, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I will tell you, Ankey.
I am your best friend.
Isn't it? Then I will tell you, Ankey, here's the thing. I would have given you this particular goodie that I have, but were it not that you are indicted somewhere, isn't it? Then I would like to think that we should begin from there. That's the basis of understanding, isn't it? But then, Ankey, when you and I come here on air and talk about this glorious list for CSS, and then immediately after that,
they call it the Hustler Cabinet.
Yeah, somebody has a very, very huge case. And by the way, Ankey, it's not just a tiny case, it's a case on rape.
Sexual assault. That's very, very big, you know.
I'm just going to leave it there.
Can I read that tweet?
Please do.
They say CS Linduri wins, a big win for nominated agriculture CS Mithika Linduri in an attempted rape case after the woman in the case withdrew her charges against him. That was our own tweet, of course, by Lookuptv. You want to look that up, and developments and replies to the same. Please let us know what your thoughts are on how the twists and turns are taking place in this country. We've touched on education. We've touched on judiciary corridors, the cabinet as well. We've touched on the state of the shilling and the National Assembly this morning. Please let us know also in the captivating of Nairobi in less than 2 weeks. What are your thoughts? Let's enjoy that moment together. The conversation still continues on at Lookuptv across all social media platforms.
Pretty much. Once we come back, I'll be taking you straight to the newsroom where we get to look at some of the biggest headlines that you're waking up to today. Once we come back.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. My name is Maki Wamboko, Sales Manager, Oasis Real Estate, and I'm here at our head office, Absa Towers, located at Reiter Street. Today, I'm here to talk about our newest project, that is Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, and it is located only 10 minutes drive from Cedar Mall. And in this project, we have proposed that we will be having a GMC Entertainment Center. This will be a replica of what we have in Kitengela, GMC Kitengela. We are also proposing a police post, so you are assured that security, once you invest here, security is good. And we are also proposing to have a playing ground. We are also going to have a community ground. So once you invest here, you don't have to worry about the security. The other things, among the things that we are doing, or the things that we have done already in Great Oasis Gardens, we have already done the marking fence, and the roads, the internal roads are already happening. We have started the malaming the road, and we are still in the process of doing the malaming of the internal roads. And we are also sinking a borehole so that we ensure that our investors in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, will not struggle with water. We are also going to elevate a water tower so that we have a constant supply of water in this project. And we also have a caretaker on site. The caretaker is on site and he's there 24/7. And then we also have different sizes in this project. We are having 8, we are having quarters, we are having halves, and we are also having acres. One can buy in bulk, you can buy in big chunks, and that is why we are saying in Great Oasis Gardens Nanyuki, we are saying that bigger is better. In this project, what you can invest in, you can invest in private schools, you can also do holiday homes, whereby you can do Airbnb, you can also do holiday homes and then you start renting, and you can also build houses and sell. You can also do apartments in this area. You can also do supermarkets. You can also build a mall and then you start renting. There is so much that you can do in this project because it is not controlled development. We are also located along Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, and this road is being proposed to be tarmacked by the government. So coming from Nanyuki, or coming from wherever you will be coming from, it will be very easy to access the project because it is touching the Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, which is going to be tarmacked by the government. My number is +254 722 355 107. Do not be left behind. Call that number. I will work with you. If you're in Kenya, give me a call. We go for the site visit. We select the project. We start the payment. If you're in diaspora, send a representative, and I will be delighted to work with you. And as we say here in Optiven, we shine because you make us shine. God bless you. Thank you.
Hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about to pressure the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni hapa kazi tu.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Morning Drift. My name is Simba, Elijah Charles Kiage. Let's cross over into the newsroom so we can look at some of the headlines that you are waking up to. President William Ruto has announced a mortgage payment scheme. Let's take that story again, because our first story was supposed to be on GMOs. Yes, we do have it. Good. Now, President William Ruto has announced a mortgage payment scheme that will be applied to allow Kenyans to own homes through the Mukuru social housing program. Speaking while the unveiling of the program, President Ruto said those in bed-sitters will pay a mortgage of 3,000, while those in one-bedroom houses will pay 5,000 shillings. Kareria reports.
All those who came here, we'd like to say thank you very much for taking time under very short notice.
During his first government project to preside over as the head of state, President William Ruto spearheaded the groundbreaking of the affordable household at Mukuru kwa Ruben in Nairobi County.
The various financial institutions, Excellency, they are working with us on this journey. Asanteni sana.
It is during the event that the head of state delivered good news to the residents of Mukuru kwa Ruben slums, stating that the housing project, once complete, will benefit the residents, as they will only be required to pay a mortgage of 3,000 shillings.
So this project, the first priority of this project is to get the people living in Mukuru to come and live here. The 3,000 shillings they are paying rent there, they will come and pay 3,000 here mortgage.
In order to push for his housing agenda, Ruto asked the Member of Parliament to allocate more funds to cater for the project.
I want to ask my good members of Parliament, it is the opportunity. In fact, the Housing Fund will give the government of Kenya the leverage to make sure that we can raise the money to provide mortgage for the ordinary people in Mukuru and every other part of Kenya to own a home. Please, good people, it's not too much to ask from those hustlers. It is not too much to ask. Now, waomba waheshimiwa, tafadhali.
Earlier, Ruto held a cabinet meeting with cabinet secretaries who served under the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta at the State House of Nairobi, as he awaits the approval of his cabinet nominees by the Parliament.
Thank you very much.
Shadrach Kareria, Lookuptv.
The government has lifted its ban on genetically modified crops after 10 years suspension. This now means that farmers will be allowed to cultivate and import food crops and animal feeds produced through biotechnology.
While meeting members of the cabinet at State House Nairobi, President William Ruto has today lifted the ban on genetically modified crops in the country. The decision, according to the dispatch from the cabinet, was reached in accordance with the recommendations of the task force to review matters relating to genetically modified foods and food safety, and in fidelity with the guidelines of the National Biosafety Authority on all applicable international treaties, including Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. The cabinet vacated its earlier decision of 8 November 2012 prohibiting the open cultivation of genetically modified crops and the importation of food crops and animal feeds produced through biotechnology innovations, effectively lifting the ban on genetically modified crops by dint of the executive action. Open cultivation and importation of white GMO is now authorized. Today's decision follows an earlier cabinet decision made on December 19, 2019 regarding the commercialization of BT, cotton hybrids in Kenya, which is a genetically enhanced variety of cotton that is resistant against African bollworm, the most destructive and pervasive pest in cotton farming. Cabinet's office further noted earlier approval sought to revamp production of textiles, apparel, feed and oil industries towards the realization of the industrialization, and today's cabinet decision builds on it and also extends its benefit to other agricultural and manufacturing sectors.
Kenyans and well-wishers have been called upon to offer food relief to those affected in the ongoing drought in the country. This call comes as more than 1,000 families in Kieni, Nyeri County received food donations from well-wishers. Moses Okech tells us more.
The prominent saying states better half a loaf than none. Families and residents who have assembled here to receive a portion of relief food from their son, Dhuo Madhenge, this to them comes at a perfect time as it seeks to alleviate their situation as they battle biting hunger and hard economic times.
Hii unga itatusaidia sana na imesaidia watu wengi. Wametoka mpaka ng'ambo ile inaitwa Kabati.
Hii unga tumeona Mungu na macho ya mwili. Juu saa hii kupata kitu ya kukula hivi. Imagine unafinya karibu ufinye hata kama damu inatokanga kitu. Mimi sijui kama ningekuwa nayo kwa mwili. Juu nakazana watoto wasilale njaa.
However, it may not be enough to satisfy their needs.
Kuna uzito wa wazee. Uwezi kukula ukiangalia mtoto na mama wakilala njaa.
Madhenge, who is a businessman and brings home goodies, has called upon the government and other stakeholders as well as other well-wishers to come on board and support the affected across the country.
Tunauliza viongozi na wekeaji na wale wamesaliwa katika Nyeri, wako Nairobi, wako Nakuru, wako Mombasa. Tunawauliza kwa unyenyekevu, tafadhali kuja na ugabiri. Tafadhali kuja na mikate bili.
On the same course, different counties affected by the drought are still on watch, eagerly waiting for the delivery of relief food released by President William Ruto. Counties in the northeastern parts of the country have so far received their portions, as well as the eastern region. But in Garissa County, which holds more than 300,000 people affected by the drought, with more than 50,000 families feeling the heat more, the situation is different. The county's Commissioner Boaz Cherutich has called on a fast-track delivery and cautioned on officials diverting relief food to other areas not proportioned. Wajir, Mandera and Garissa have not received seasonal rainfall for 4 consecutive years. The Meteorological Department says that the situation might continue for a while. In the coastal region, over 200,000 people in Kwale County are facing a prolonged drought challenge that is affecting lactating mothers and causing malnutrition in children. Thus, Fatuma Achani, the county governor, calling for immediate intervention in the county and areas in Kinango, Samburu and Lunga Lunga that are facing shortage of food and water. This as the government tries to find a lasting solution by putting in place measures that seek to ensure food security. Moses Okech, Lookuptv.
Residents of Lunyito constituency in Kakamega County are up in arms after a body was abandoned in the river Nzoia for 3 days. The residents have accused police officers of taking the matter lightly and requested the county government to intervene on the matter, as Malan Alando reports.
Residents of Lunyito in Lugari constituency in Kakamega County are protesting over the ignorance of police officers concerning the abandoned body that is reported to have been found 3 days ago in River Nzoia. The body, which was discovered by one of the residents who was fishing in the river, is said to have been mutilated.
Nilikuwa nafua samaki nikasikia harufu. Kufuatilia hiyo harufu nikapata mwili ya mtu mwenye hata simujui.
Residents decried the act of police officers who came to the scene of crime and left immediately, leaving the body in the river.
Jana asubuhi maaskari hapo walikuja wakadhibitisha, wakasema wanarudi kuitoa, mpaka na saa hii mwendo hii hawajafika, na hatujui itatolewa ama hapana. Itabaki pale hivyo ama nini?
Tumeita vijana wetu wa serikali ambao ni polisi. I don't know nini imefanyika because sasa hii imeenda siku mbili. Hiyo mwili bado iko hapo.
They are now calling on the authorities to get the body out of the river, claiming that is posing a health threat.
Kwa saa hizi katika area hapa tumeanza kuwa na wasiwasi kwa sababu harufu ambayo inatoka katika mtoni pale si harufu ya kukalika mahali hapa. Environment yetu hapa imeanza kuwa mbaya.
Hii maji tunatumia kunywa, na sasa wameacha mtu ameosea hapa, ng'ombe zinakunywa, sisi tunafulia hapo. Sasa tutakunywa viini vya mtu.
Malo na Lando, Lookuptv.
Parents and teachers continue to give strong opinions on their CBC curriculum as President William Ruto awaits the task force to provide a report on the effectiveness of the education curriculum in 6 months. Currently, over 7 million students are under their CBC curriculum.
At least 1.2 million students are set to join junior high school come next year as the debate on CBC continues.
And then you put it inside, and then the other one, you put it inside.
Many have different opinions towards the curriculum. In hope to streamline the system, President William Ruto appointed a task force to look into CBC and give a conclusive report in the next 6 months.
Rais kupitia ofisi yake alivyoahidi wakati ya kampeni ameteua jopo kazi ambalo litakuwa linashughulika na kutoa marekebisho ambao Wakenya wamekuwa wakizungumzia kwenye mtaala wa CBC.
The debate, however, continues to intensify as some teachers and parents are strongly against the newly adopted system. Lack of needed resources and facilities in schools, especially in high schools, is set to pose a key challenge.
Kuwa tayari kwa walimu kutekeleza mtaala huo, vienzo ambavyo vyafaa kutumika kutekeleza mtaala, kwa sababu wazazi wengi nyumbani wanapata muda mgumu wakati mwalimu anapowatuma wanafunzi na watoto wao na kuambia watoto wanaelekezwa siku inayofuata waelekee shuleni na vitu fulani. Vitu hivyo vingi vinahitaji rasilimali ambazo familia nyingi hazijapangia.
The age gap between the students who will be joining junior high school and those in high school pose security fear among the teachers, but majorly among the parents. The 10-year-old junior high school students will be forced to relate with the 18-year-old secondary students.
Ndipo changamoto itakapoingia, sababu hao watoto wengi watakuwa ni chini ya miaka 12, wanaenda kujiunga na wengine ambao wana umri mkubwa. Kuna wengine watakuwa watu wazima miaka 18.
Shortage of well-trained CBC teachers might be experienced as only a few teachers and teaching trainees have undergone CBC training courses.
Hawako tayari. Tunavyozungumza hivi, shule za kitaifa ambazo zina umaarufu ni walimu chini ya 10 kwa kila shule ambao wamefunzwa jinsi ya kupokea wale watakaotoka shule ya msingi.
Mudeundalana, Lookuptv.
Kenyans have welcomed the move by the government and the private sector to provide affordable loans. This comes as President William Ruto's call for affordable and accessible mobile loans for Kenyans is under implementation, with Safaricom slashing charges on Fuliza effective 1st October. Edin John Mukora with that story.
After the announcement of reduction of interest charges in digital loans by Safaricom in an effort to reduce the high cost of living, Kenyans have given their opinions about the program and how it will benefit them.
Mimi nakuwa nafulilisanga shilingi 9,500. Hiyo ndio maximum yangu. Lakini sasa wamepunguza paka at ni free of charge. Wamepunguza paka ingiri moja. Sasa 1,000 itanunua kweli unga kweli?
Maoni mzuri, nataka waongeza kiwango yangu, wakiniongezea hapo nitakuwa sawa na nitakuwa mbele. Na hiyo fuliza itainuka, watu watakuwa wengi.
Mimi naona itawasaidia Wakenya sababu naona hii ratio yenye tulikuwa tunachukulia. Sasa tena ikipunguzwa, Wakenya wengi watachukua raini mingi na wachukue hiyo fuliza wasitupe. So ratio itakuwa ni ile. So tusipata kama Mkenya ni mmoja, ameregister raini moja. Amechukua fuliza hapo kama raini 10 kwa shilingi 500. So naona ni pesa mingi.
This comes after Safaricom slashed the cost of Fuliza loans interest by 50% for loans under 1,000 shillings effective 1st of October, a decision announced by Fuliza financiers Safaricom, KCB Bank and NCBA Bank on 28th of September in Nairobi. The event was graced by President William Ruto, who lauded the move, saying it speaks to his agenda of uplifting all Kenyans.
All customers will enjoy Fuliza free of the daily maintenance fee for transactions below 1,000 and below 3 days. So for the first 3 days, they won't have to pay any daily maintenance fee, which they pay today.
We want to work on credit, especially for our micro, small, and medium enterprises. That is the space where we have the largest opportunity. That is the space that employs almost 80% of our population, and yet they are constrained by access to credit.
For now, Kenyans are hopeful that other digital loans companies will also reduce the interest rates on their loans. Edwin John Mukora, Lookuptv.
The Central Bank of Kenya has stated that the country's foreign exchange reserves are enough to provide input cover for at least 4 months. This is contrary to a statement made by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua during a Sunday interview, saying that there are no sufficient forex reserves for fuel imports. According to CBI, in a statement as of September 26, 2022, the country had foreign exchange reserves equivalent to 4.64 months of imports cover, which is above local and East African community statutory requirements. During the interview with Citizen TV, DP Gachagua said the country was unable to import petroleum products due to the unavailability of hard currencies used in buying fuel in the international market. Moving on, Kenya Revenue Authority Commissioner General John Mburu, while speaking after the official opening of the Taxpayers Month, indicated that the prices of basic commodities will go up due to the authority proceeding with the implementation of the inflation-adjusted tax, with only petroleum products being exempted. Ian Kitani files the following report.
KRA Commissioner General John Mburu has announced that the prices of various basic commodities and consumables are set to go up after the implementation of the inflation-adjusted tax.
From where we stand as KRA, we have given the leave of notice for publication. If it was not published on Friday, then I would expect it maybe it was done over the weekend or even today. It will affect accessible products other than petroleum products. So all the other accessible products, we will make that adjustment.
However, Mburu indicated that petroleum products will be exempted from the tax as the prices of the products are already high in a need to cushion consumers.
The only category we are going to leave out are petroleum products because of the currently very high prices of fuel. So we want to support Kenyans in ensuring that that price of fuel doesn't go higher. But for the other products, we have made that adjustment. It is by a requirement of the law. So we expect that Kenyans will comply.
Speaking to the press after officially opening the Taxpayers Month, Mburu lauded Kenyans for paying the taxes diligently adding that a small percentage of Kenyans who do not pay taxes will be educated on the importance of tax compliance, with the KRA chairman, Ambassador Francis Modhoura, indicating the Commission's willingness to change its name as directed by President William Ruto, urging Kenyans to pay taxes as it is their constitutional duty.
First, let me thank all our esteemed taxpayers. This is their month. During this month, we celebrate them for being diligent in payment of taxes. Paying taxes is not easy, but we have citizens of this country who are very diligent and honest in paying their taxes. Like I said earlier, about 90% of our taxes come through voluntary compliance. Those are people who we don't need to go for. They know their obligations, they come forward and pay their taxes. In agreement fully with the new administration that taxes must be collected and taxes must be paid by all Kenyans. Everyone must pay what they owe. We have further agreed that for those taxpayers experiencing difficulties, we will have to adopt a different approach so that we encourage them and we walk the journey with them, because some of them, they are going through genuine difficulties.
The transformation of KRA from the authority to a service, a program that is really being driven now by the current government. I think it's a very good policy initiative. We support that very, very, very strongly, knowing that every Kenyan, every citizen has an obligation to pay taxes. Tax is a responsibility. There is no way we can grow our country. There is no way the government can provide services without getting sufficient tax resources.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
The chairman of Long Distance Truck Drivers Association in Kenya, Roman Waema, has asked the Ministry of Health to collaborate with transport companies to ensure their drivers are examined at Ebola virus testing centers when they arrive at Mombasa from Uganda before being allowed to join their families to prevent the spread of the Ebola virus.
The chairman of Long Distance Truck Drivers Association in Kenya, Roman Waema, has said that the restoration of port services to Mombasa has increased the flow of traffic to the port, and therefore there is a need to test all drivers for the Ebola virus when they enter Mombasa County from Uganda. Waema has asked the Ministry of Health to collaborate with transport companies to ensure their drivers are examined at the Ebola virus testing center to be established when they enter Mombasa County before being allowed to join their families to prevent the spread of Ebola virus.
Ni kuona kwa Wizara ya Afya ishirikiane na wenye makampuni badala kungojea wasikie mtu amepatikana na Ebola mtaani ndio waanze kumtrace wamtafute. Ni wao hivi sasa watume maofisa wao katika haya makampuni makubwa ambayo yana operate katika kupitia boda, ili kuona kwa kila dereva ambaye atakuwa anakuja kuna mikakati kadhaa ambayo inafanyika ili mtu yule akitoka kwenye kampuni kuingia katika vijiji ama kutangamana na wananchi awe atakuwa hana wasiwasi wote.
However, in Kakamega County, the governor of Kakamega, Fernandez Baraza, addressing the press, has said that KEMRI has determined that the case alleged to be Ebola tested negative. This is after conducting a detailed investigation of the samples taken from the alleged patient in the county.
Ningependa kuwatangazia wanakakamega ya kwamba hiyo kesi ambayo tulikuwa nayo hapo juzi, ambapo kulikuwa na jamaa mmoja alikuwa na dalili ya virusi ya Ebola. Tumepata jana matokeo kutoka KEMRI, nimethibitisha kwamba yule kijana ambaye alikuwa na virusi imetoka kuwa negative, so hivi sasa hakuna Ebola Kakamega.
Governor Baraza has now assured residents that Kakamega has not reported any Ebola case disease, and in the event of such a case, the county government as well as the doctors are fully prepared to succumb Ebola virus.
Kama county tumeweka mikakati, tuko na isolation center na pia madaktari wetu tumeweka wako imara. Ikiwa kutatokea jambo lolote ama information yoyote kuhusu ugonjwa wa Ebola. Kaunti tuko imara na tuko na madaktari pia wako imara, ili ikiwa utakuwa na jambo kama hilo wataweza kushughulikia.
Susan Jerry, Lookuptv.
Well, that story indeed does mark the end of Morning Drift News right here on Lookuptv. Now, some of these stories are going to graduate into the conversations that we're going to have in the course of the week, especially on Ruto's mortgage deal. How is that going to be a fact, really, in terms of how the affordable housing pillar was run by former President Uhuru Kenyatta? Was it a success? Was it a failure? Issues around Ebola as well arrive within Kenya, and news about what Moses said, really, on capturing Nairobi, within less than 2 weeks. Anyway, we just leave it on the side. I'll be back from 11 to 12 for Look at Business, and what we're going to focus on is the tax payers month by KRA. A lot of issues were discussed by Githimburu, the commissioner for KRA, soon to be Kenya Revenue Services, and the chairman as well, and also look into insights of what you need to know as a taxpayer in Kenya, including how fuel has been exempted from the inflation-adjusted excise duty. My name is Simba And Ankey. I'll see you from 11 to 12. Ankey Dorice takes over with Inspirational Motivational Tuesday. Interesting topic coming up.
Hi there, my name is George Washuri. I am so happy to see you, and today I am here to enumerate, to explain how we package our land investment. We have 5 levels of our property, and we classify these levels as 1 star, 2 stars, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star. This is what we mean, that if you buy a property that is 1 star with Optiven, one of the things that is evident, the property is cheaper, is below $500,000. And this particular property is basically bare land. We only do subdivision, put the beacons, and then produce titles. The second level, we call it 2 star. This is prime land, whereby we grade the roads, we put a marking fence, do the beacons, and produce titles. The third level, we call it 3 stars. This 3 star is value added plots. We do the malam, we do the water, we do the mesh fence, and there's a caretaker on site. The fourth level is 4 star. 4 star is ready to build development. We do very nice maram roads, we plant the trees, we put the water tower, we also put a caretaker on site, and finally, the 5 star. The 5 star is premier, is the top level, and this one, we do cable roads, we do water management through underground culverts, we do underground power, we do fountain for water, we do beautiful and nice permanent gates, we do perimeter wall, and also do install the CCTV, and the whole property is manned by uniformed security. Some of these properties, these 5-star properties, we do a clubhouse and also construct swimming pool. Thank you once more for trusting Optiven. We value you. We are at Absa Plaza, 14th floor and 15th floor. God bless you.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about kufurahisha the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni Hapa Kazi Tu.
Well, it is the 4th of October, the year 2022, and you know what we do every Tuesday, because before you're anything else, before you're a professor, before you're a doctor, a teacher, a politician, whichever title you have, you are a human. And in this life, overcoming adversity is no small task. One thing you can count on in life is that challenges will come. One day you'll be sitting back enjoying the view from the mountaintop. The next day, your emotional world can be completely rocked. But really, when we're speaking of an overcomer's mindset and inspiration this morning, you'd ask yourself, what is a mindset? All right, your mindset, they say, is a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. Sounds like Greek to some of us. They say it influences how you think, feel, and behave in any given situation. It means that you believe about yourself, your belief about yourself impacts your success or failure. But tell you what, science once told us that the human brain stops developing pretty much childhood, during childhood, or within childhood. However, we now know that the brain is constantly evolving and changing, and many parts of the brain respond to experiences, and our quote-unquote software can be updated through learning and experiences. Sounds deep. But this morning, joining me live is Frida Omwinga, who is a development solutions practitioner. And I want to understand more, together with you, what exactly is an overcomer's mindset and inspiration? Putting into perspective also the very harsh times that we are facing today. Name it, it is actually globally. Just healing 2 years down the line from COVID-19, and then we have politics coming in, subsidies now taken off, and you're experiencing a lot of harsh economic times. This morning developing is that children have been sent home for school fee. So if you're watching from back at home, you probably have been sent home for school fee, seated right near your parents, and you're trying to figure out which way. Am I a victim or a victor? Let's hear from Frida this morning. Also talk to us in the comment section. Ask as many questions as you possibly can on the comment section, and I'm sure she's ready to respond. Good morning.
Good morning, Ankey.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me here this morning.
Thank you for choosing to be here. The next hour, we are looking forward to hearing a lot from your wisdom. When people see you, they see a lot of wisdom oozing out. That's for sure. I can tell you for sure, I put out the poster, and one Dr. Lindsay,
yes,
she commented and said, this is the right choice for this conversation.
Oh, really?
Frida is the perfect person to talk about this.
That must be Dr. Lizzie Wanchiku.
That's it.
We are friends on Facebook.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are looking forward to this conversation.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Can you just start from what really an overcomer is and what mindset is and why we have them in one statement this morning?
I like the description that you gave about mindset. So I'm going to jump on to overcomer.
Oh, okay.
Because when we talk about overcomer, it kind of sets the stage that there will be something that we need to overcome. All right, so it kind of surprises me when we get surprised when, a surprise shows up. So I think just talking about an overcomer's mindset sets the stage for us to find out what are some things that go on in life that we will need to overcome, so that we are not surprised every time they show up. The truth of the matter, Ankey, is that as human beings, we are more resilient than we actually want to believe or know. Look at COVID. I mean, all the stories about what COVID was going to do, but look at today. 90% of those stories are not true. Yes, people died, but there was a bright silver lining over that cloud. So one thing we can do as humans is to prepare ourselves in about there are 4 or 5 areas that I recommend we prepare ourselves in, so that when that dark cloud shows up, we find the strength to look for our silver lining.
I like that. And you've just said one of the things that people, pretty much people say these things over and over, like there's always a silver lining on a cloud. People say this every day, but do they live it?
So, and then they're going to say it's hard. So you see, life is neither hard nor easy. When I say thank you for having me, you said thank you for choosing to be here.
Yes.
Life is about choices, and the choices we make are going to determine whether it's going to be hard or easy for us. So you said, thank you for choosing to be here. I could have easily told you, no, I can't come, I'm busy, the traffic, the rain, and everything else. But I chose to be here. I chose to be here because this is a topic that I live and breathe. I help people turn their passion into profit. For you to turn your passion into profit, you need to define it. Just like we need to define what are the things that we need to overcome. Anybody watching me, I'm sure, is over 18, even if they are not. I remember when I was younger, at 16, I had done 4th form. I had a mind. All right? So one thing that we have all been graced with as we get here is we have been given a mind. Somebody said gray matter between our 2 ears. And how we develop that gray matter between our 2 ears will determine our success, will determine whether we overcome or we are overcome.
That's also something. You choose whether to be a victor or a victim. Better or bitter.
Better or bitter. Because life is happening 24/7.
That's true.
And it is up to us to respond to the stimuli that life is throwing us, and then we can decide. That will determine what the outcome is. An outcome can be victor or victim. So the first place I recommend for people to build their to build their fortitude in is their spirituality. Why? Many people say, oh, in corporate, don't talk about God, but we noticed the one thing that everybody spoke about during COVID was God. People discovered that there's a God. And the one thing that people talk about when they're down and under over all kinds of addictions, I've had people with addictions that I've had to go to the rehabilitation centers. And the one thing they're told in there is that you need to acknowledge that you cannot overcome this on your own. There's a higher power. And the first time I ever went into a rehabilitation center, I remember was in 2000, because I had come back into the country. It was 2009, all right? And when I saw that, I made up my mind, Ankey, I'm not going to wait to go down. I'm going to find a higher power before that happens. What did I do? I was choosing to be an overcomer and not end up there. And what am I saying? Every day we are going through life. Life is teaching us through somebody, through an event, or through something that we are doing. So we need to be conscious. Beautiful. The first thing about having an overcomer's mindset is to become conscious about who you are.
Yes.
What do you want? What are your values? These are questions that people dodge or don't want to answer, especially about what do you want. Many people feel that if I tell you what I want, utaweza kweli? Will you really hack it? But the truth is, it's not about me. It's about you. Whatever you can imagine, whatever your mind can conceive, you can achieve. And I didn't say that. It is our manufacturer who said that. And that's why I go back to being spiritual. Are you aware that you didn't just pop out of nowhere, that you are created and you are here for a purpose? Do you even know that purpose? And knowing that purpose is not that complicated. But the first thing is your spiritual fortitude. acknowledge.
Yeah, I like when you're talking about the spiritual fortitude, and I want us to go back to that. But I'm sure there's some question that popped around what you want. If we speak about the generation today, because I belong to the younger generation, I would speak better for them. There has been a thin line between knowing what you want, speaking what you want, and how the world society has pretty much credited to be having standards which are unrealistic or arrogance. All right, now someone watching you today wants to have an overcomer's mindset, but they don't want to come out to the rest of society as, being entitled, or having to, dictate standards. So how do you have an overcomer's mindset and not cross over the thin line to being arrogant or demanding or entitled to what exactly, quote unquote, you feel is what you want?
Ankey, I like that you said you're the young generation. And one thing that amazes me about the young generation is how much attention they pay to what society thinks. And who is society? Somebody made a joke one time that when we are 20, we freak out about what people are thinking about us. When we are 30, we don't care. When we are 40 and 50, we discovered nobody was even thinking about us. So newsflash for the young people. Society doesn't care. Live your life. All right? So we go back to what do you want?
Yes.
And what do you want is pegged on who are you? And who are you is pegged on you paying attention to the things that you can do easily, to the things that you do that make others' lives easy. And as you continue doing those things, you continue to form in who you are. Because it doesn't come a day where you say that, perfect, I'm at this or I'm at the other. Yes. It's a progressive journey, all right? So those two things are tied. Being conscious of who you are, why you're here, and whose you are. It's a threefold question, all right? Beautiful. And it comes with consciousness. And coming with consciousness is, what is there to overcome? Life has plenty of stories, all right? We have seen people fall, we have seen people rise. Is there a model that you want to model your life after, all right? The life that you want to model your life after will show you the things that need to be overcome. When you read biographies, you see the things that people need to overcome.
Yes.
They needed to speak up at one point or another. So any human being has that opportunity.
Okay.
But we have this learned helplessness. I don't know.
Yes.
If you don't know, you need to ask the right question. Why am I here? And pay attention to your life. For the amount of time you have been here, what do you enjoy? What do you absolutely hate? All right? What do you enjoy that when you participate in, people, it adds value to people? Because the truth of the matter is we are not here for ourselves. We are here for each other. And the sooner you discover how you can add value to another's life with the little that you have and have discovered, the bigger that light will shine, the more comfortable you'll become. So number one, I can't say it enough, we need to be more conscious about the thoughts that are flying on in our heads, about the life that we are seeing in front of us. Society today will say this, tomorrow will say the other. So if you don't have your own standards, if you don't have your own line, then you'll keep going back and forth on this line like a drunken fellow. You don't want that. So you need to determine, I am Frida Owinga, I can be the best Frida, but I can never be an Ankey. Even if I went to school for it, I can't. All right?
All right.
So that is how you are trying to measure our life. We are trying to measure our life with an illusion. So who is society? A couple of people behind some screen who decide you should look like this, you should be this weight, you should be the other weight. When I was growing up, skinny was in fashion.
Yes, it was.
Today I see women getting plus size, but also using drugs. I don't know whether to call it drugs or medicine.
Yes.
All kinds of things to make sure their hips are bigger, and their lips are thicker. I'm like, what is going on? So if you were the part who was looking at society to be skinny, and now you need to be thick, well, you're going to be crazy.
That's true. That's true. And I like how you put it. And now you understand really the clarity between, knowing yourself and just believing yourself and what you want. The three questions, very well put. Thank you, Frida, for that. And as we continue, you were talking on, the few areas that will build fortitude, and you started with spirituality. Just walk us through the rest of it.
So one, you have spirituality, and then the next you have your consciousness. You need to be conscious, and you need to be conscious in terms of What are the things you need to learn?
Yes.
All right. You need to learn how to manage your emotions, because emotions are who you are. But your emotions, you need to learn to manage your emotions for yourself and for the good of others. How? Because emotions come into play when the environment throws you a stimuli. All right. When something happens, the child has been returned home. Yes. There is no school fees. The husband has walked out. The wife has walked out. All right? Then you're either going to feel angry, you're going to feel sad, and that's all right. You need to know that when life throws me a stimuli that will make me angry, how will I respond?
Yes.
Because there's relationships with myself, with others, at work, in the community. So I need to know how to manage myself when life throws me different, I call it a stimuli,
Yeah.
all right? So there's nothing wrong with being angry, because anger is showing you that there's something that you don't like that you can correct.
And you can overcome.
Well, because when you correct it, you can overcome. I think you really like that word. Yeah. Yes. So it's not about us being happy and smiling and hugging everybody all the time. It's about us paying attention to what emotion has been triggered when a stimuli is thrown.
Okay.
So that we know, next, these kinds of situations upset me. So this is what I'm going to do the next time this kind of a relationship situation comes up, or a money situation comes up, because those are the other two areas. But first, starting with you being conscious, all right, at how you respond to lack of money, lack of relationships. What else make people freak out? Lack of work, all right.
Fear of loss?
Fear of, you see, fear of loss.
Yes. Because we almost never get used to loss, Frida, no matter how strong we want our mindsets to be. But how do you go about loss?
It's not so. You see, I avoid speaking in absolutes.
Okay.
And absolute is we never get used to loss.
Okay.
Right? Loss is an event. How will I respond to the event of a loss, of a loved one, of a product or something that I love? How will I respond to it?
Yes.
I cannot bring back a loved one, but I can bring back the good memories of the loved one. So we must always know in every event, what can I control and what can't I control? I don't have powers of bringing back the dead, but I do have powers of bringing back the memories the dead had with me. I've lost my mother, I've lost my father, I've lost my sister, I've lost my husband. So I know loss.
Yes.
I've lost a job. I've almost lost my business, all right? So loss is part of life. So it's, again, the fortitude of your mind, understanding what can I control, what can I not control, and how do I need to shift my energy? Because when an event happens, an emotion is triggered. And when the emotion is triggered, energy will flow based on the emotion that you're going to follow. You get that?
Yes.
So if I'm angry and I allow the energy of anger follow, I'll start shouting and creating havoc. But if I'm angry and I stop the energy of anger by saying, you know what, how do you stop the energy flowing? One, you must determine what you're standing on. I stand on the word of God, and I stand on the word of God. I'd learned, because I can get really angry. And there's a scripture that says that anger lies in the bosom of fools. So every time anger is triggered, I say in my mind, I'm not a fool, I'm not going to get angry, so that I can find a better way to respond. I can walk away, I can come back later. So I have choices, all right? But I have thought through these choices based on the events that have happened to me, that have made me angry and responded inappropriately. So now I have a standard. When this event happens, this is what my response is going to be, and this is what my outcome will be. And everybody has that opportunity. The trouble is, in school, we are not taught that. In school, we are taught to cram, and because everybody gets so frazzled when they're in school. I have exams, I'm not taking what's subject, and I'm like, and then after you've done all that, you don't know how to lead your life. I really think we should change what we are being taught in school. It is great to learn that stuff so you can get a job, but now that jobs are even shrinking, the other things that we need to learn, because life is bigger than a job.
That's true.
Okay.
I like that. I like when you say life is bigger than a job. And
it is.
You just created a scenario here, and we want to talk to someone this morning because we are seeing a lot of feedback coming in. And when you just mentioned life is bigger than a job, you said you have also felt what emotion comes with losing a job. All right.
And I can give you a practical example that I had a contract. I had a contract for 2 years, and it was a fantastic contract. It was the right pay. I could do everything that I want, and there was still more money left over. all right? I took a loan to help me set up something that I've had a dream for the longest time, because I knew this thing was going to last for 2 years.
Yes.
6 months into the contract, it stopped. But two things had happened. One of the things that I had done is I took an insurance so that when this job ends, I'll still have some money.
Yes.
I think I could do that I did that for 3 months. I could have done longer if I wanted to, all right? Why? Because I knew this is a job, but I love my business better than my job. In case this job disappears, what am I going to do? I had thought it through. To be an overcomer, you must learn to think of the what if, but don't stew in the what if.
Okay.
Manage what you can and keep on living. Just like I said, what if somebody passes away? What are we going to do? All right, we're going to start a WhatsApp group, or right now, we can take an insurance. Taking an insurance for, what do they call it? I can't remember what they call it, but you know you can take an insurance for less than 5,000, and when a loved one dies, you get 100,000, which is quite sufficient to bury somebody, whether you're taking them to Kisumu, which is the most expensive, or to Langata. But you can, that 5,000, you have it today. You might say, I don't have it today. Save 1,000 every month for the next 5 months to save yourself starting a WhatsApp group. So there's some things that we have chosen and made it our lifestyle.
Yes.
I lived abroad and I've lived at home.
Yes.
I never saw money being collected for funeral. I never saw money being collected for birthdays or for weddings. All right, somebody might say, now she's bringing the Western lifestyle and da-da-da-da-da. No, you can choose.
Yes,
you
again,
can choose,
choices.
Yeah, you can choose to have a wedding that fits your money, or you can choose to have friends in a committee. If I'm getting married, I'm not having friends in a committee. Why? Because in the committee, there's an accountant, there's a what? A plumber, a what, and there's no event planner. Why would I trust my wedding with people who are professions in something else, instead of doing something small that I can, that I can afford?
Yes.
But that is just me.
Okay.
Now, this is the thing. Do not allow society to determine your choices.
Right.
We determine our choices based on our resources. Our first resource is our mind. Our second resource is what we have learned in school or wherever. Our third resource is what we are able to do for others to add value, and we get value back. So that becomes your line that you cross or don't cross. I'm not crossing the line of having a committee plan my wedding. I'm not crossing it. Call me proud. It's all right. That is my choice. All right. So the opinions of man are many. Today they will call you proud. Tomorrow they will look up to you. The next day they will forget all about you. So you need to determine what you're going to call yourself. Have a pure heart, knowing that this is who I am. This is what I want, and this is how I'm contributing value to the world, irrelevant of what society says. Because who is society anyway? It doesn't pay my bills.
I get that, and I like how you've over and over asked, and you challenged me really with that question.
Because I'm tired of hearing about society. Or they say, who are they?
Who are they?
Do they have faces? And how my mother used to say, I don't sleep in their house. All right?
Yes.
They don't buy my food. Even if I'm hungry in my house. Don't disturb me about what they're saying. You see, and I learned that from her. My mom didn't go to school much, but she had a life that I loved. She learned how to do business. She learned how to read for herself, because she wanted to read the Bible. Not because society said she needs to know how to read. She wanted to read the Bible. She learned how to read so that she can know how to read the Bible. So are we doing things for ourselves, Ankey, or are we doing them for this faceless society?
That's a good question, and I know we are going to be getting a lot more questions on social media on the same. The first challenge Frida has brought on board is, who is society? Who are they? Can you see their faces? Do they have a name to them? And of course, as we think that through, we want to take a short breather.
And who gives them the right to control my life?
We're coming to that. Let's just take a short breather. And we're talking about the overcomer's mindset and inspiration. What is your situation this morning? What is this thing we ought to overcome this morning? Let's talk about it in the comment section. Frida is still here for a few more minutes. But of course, as I take a short breather, despite the neurological facts, some experts tangerine, some experts still think that you're stuck with the talents and smarts, quote unquote, you're born with. Now, psychologists, allow me to quote Carol Dweck from Stanford University, was the first researcher to explore the idea of fixed and growth mindsets. When we come back with Frida, we're also going to be exploring that same, discovery by Dweck. Are you in a fixed mindset or are you in a growth mindset? We'll be right back with the Overcomers Mindset and Inspiration Conversation shortly.
Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. My name is Maki Wambogo, Sales Manager, Optiven Real Estate, and I'm here at our head office, Absa Towers, located at Rochester Street. Today, I'm here to talk about our newest project, that is Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, and it is located only 10 minutes drive from Cedar Mall. And in this project, we have proposed that we will be having a GMC Entertainment Center. This will be a replica of what we have in Kitengela, GMC Kitengela. We are also proposing a police post, so you are assured that security, once you invest here, security is good. And we are also proposing to have a playing ground. We are also going to have a community ground. So once you invest here, you don't have to worry about the security. The other things, among the things that we are doing, or the things that we have done already in Great Oasis Gardens, we have already done the marking fence, and the roads, the internal roads are already happening. We have started the malaming the road, and we are still in the process of doing the malaming of the internal roads. And we are also sinking a borehole so that we ensure that our investors in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, will not struggle with water. We are also going to elevate a water tower so that we have a constant supply of water in this project. And we also have a caretaker on site. The caretaker is on site and he's there 24/7. And then we also have different sizes in this project. We are having 8, we are having quarters, we are having halves, and we are also having acres. One can buy in bulk, you can buy in big chunks, and that is why we are saying in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, we are saying that bigger is better. In this project, what you can invest in, you can invest in private schools, you can also do holiday homes, whereby you can do Airbnb, you can also do holiday homes and then you start renting, and you can also build houses and sell. You can also do apartments in this area. You can also do supermarkets. You can also build a mall and then you start renting. There is so much that you can do in this project because it is not controlled development. We are also located along Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, and this road is being proposed to be tarmacked by the government. So coming from Nanyuki or coming from wherever you'll be coming from, it will be very easy to access the project because it is touching the Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, which is going to be tarmacked by the government. My number is +254 722 355 107. Do not be left behind. Call that number. I will work with you. If you are in Kenya, give me a call. We go for the site visit. We select the plot and we start the payment. If you're in diaspora, send a representative, and I will be delighted to work with you. And as we say here in Optiven, we shine because you make us shine. God bless you. Thank you.
Hapa ndio nimefika nyumba ya boxing.
Well, thank you very much for keeping it Lookuptv. This is the Morning Drift, and if you're just joining us, I must tell you that you've done yourself a great deal today for joining us right on time for this conversation on the overcomers mindset and inspiration. We do agree that life can be challenging, and Frida has said she doesn't understand why we say it really is hard. We can make it simpler with the choices we make and the fortitudes that we build. We have touched on a few, so keep going on YouTube, and you can follow this particular conversation anywhere on social media. Just look up at Lookuptv and send in as many questions as you can. James Kinyua, thank you very much for your feedback. I can also see Vic Legend. Vic Legend and Mary will be giving you the answers to these particular questions. Don't go too far away, even as we pick it from where we left it. Frida, thank you for still choosing to stay.
Thank you.
Yes. And we were talking about the fixed and growth mindset. Might be easier to say, but people still don't really understand. Am I just principled? Am I firm? Or am I in a fixed mindset? Am I, in a growth mindset, or am I swayed? So what really are we talking about? A fixed mindset versus a growth mindset?
When we talk about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset,
yes,
it immediately connotes that I have a desire, I'm aspiring for higher. And if I'm aspiring for higher, I cannot afford to be fixed. I need to be willing and able to make the appropriate changes to go to the higher place that I want to be. All right. If I'm fixed, I'm happy with where I am. Or I'm just being stubborn and silly not to change, because if I continue doing the same things, I will get the same outcomes. Back to the simple principle, events will happen.
True.
How I respond will determine the outcome. So dependent on the outcome I want, whether easy or hard becomes irrelevant. All right, I don't know if you have children, but those of us who have had children, the minute you decided to have a baby, when I decided to have my first child, I had no idea how difficult it is to push, to go through labor, to push and have that baby in my arms. I made a lot of noise, I screamed, but at the end of it, I knew there'll be this baby. So it was easier the second time round, not because the pain was not there, but because I had made up my mind, I want the second child. I know the hell I went through the first time, so I'm going to push or do whatever the midwife tells me to do so that I can have the outcome of the baby. So a fixed mindset is saying, I want to go to Mombasa, but I'm going to stay on Naivasha Road until I get to Mombasa.
Yes.
Will I get to Mombasa? Heck no. So once you need to, that's why I said you need to determine who you are. Sure. What do you want? All right? Because that becomes the standard that is going to guide your life. Many times we don't decide that because we are looking at life in a fixed manner.
Okay.
Just because I don't have the money today does not mean I will not have it tomorrow. If I want something that costs more money tomorrow, there are changes I can make now. I can find a job. There's a lady, she wanted to be in events, all right? She didn't have, and she said she doesn't have the money to buy the dishes and stuff and the other. I said, do you have something to cook the food? Can you start with that? She said, I'll need this and the other. I said, you will need to figure out how to get some money to get started. Do you know what she did?
Yes.
Learned with degree and all. She started calling her friends, all right? Can I come wash your clothes this weekend? Can I come wash your clothes this weekend? And as she washed the clothes over the weekend, she put that money aside. She started buying the equipment. Today she has equipment. Chafing dishes, chairs, tents, what have you. But where did she start? Washing clothes. If society saw her with her degree washing clothes, I don't know what they would have said. But she didn't care because she knew where she was going, and she knew the event that was happening in her life was no money. She knew that she needs to respond in a way to get some money. So she is strong, she has strength. So hanging around waiting for a job because I have a degree and refusing to help somebody else is another insanity that we have in this country.
It's a fixed mindset.
It's a fixed mindset. Because school has, we've been told, work hard, go to school, and you'll get a job.
Yes.
But don't you have the sense to convert this knowledge that you got in school for somebody else without sitting in somebody's space for for 24/7, that is what just amazes me. Because you went to school for 4 years, all right? So you have some information, you have some knowledge. How can it change another person's life? Can you even start by volunteering somewhere? Yes, you need money, but do you realize that everything you do for another will come back to you? Because what goes round comes around. It is a mindset. And while you're working for somebody, who knows who will see you there? I don't know, but start. Life is not a fixed line, the fixed mindset thing again, that you always feel that if I do this, I'll get this tomorrow. What goes around comes around. I don't know the timing, but it does come around. So you need to start. If you want to work in a certain kind of organization, you are doing nothing 24/7, watching YouTube, and what else do we do? Instagram and liking things. Just decide this week for an hour, I'm going to support this organization. And I'm going to go and see what will happen.
And I like
come
when
back
you
and
say,
tell us.
All right, see what will happen, come back and tell us.
I kid you not, something will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I go into the comment section? Because I like how you're already picking up scenarios. I really like how we're flowing.
To keep it practical.
Vic Legend here really needs, you touched on it earlier on, but I think we're going to take this again for his sake, saying, hey, Ankey, which is the best way to overcome fear of loss?
Now, number one, we need to move from the fixed mindset of wanting the best way. So, because there are many ways, and the different ways will appeal to different people. So number one, what is the loss that you're fearing? Are you fearing loss of a job? Are you fearing loss of a loved one? Then you can prepare for that loss. If you're fearing loss for a job, like I was fearing loss for a job and I lost it, but I had insurance to help me for 3 months. So it's important to acknowledge the fear, but move from the fear and define what would you rather have and what would you desire to have should the loss happen, and then fixate your mind on that and not on the loss. Why? Because what you focus on will expand. What you focus on, you'll attract. It's just that it's a universal law.
What you focus on grows.
What you focus on grows. Everybody you owe money, when you think about them, your phone will ring.
That's true.
That's
true.
Instead of thinking of them, start thinking of how to make money to pay them.
All right. There's something about strategy, and you've mentioned just, around, the fear of loss, just around that. You've had moments where you've said, prepare. Ahead. An overcomer can, prepare ahead. Like you said, you had the fear of loss of job, you did lose it, but you had insurance, you knew you had your business. And how do I make sure that it's just me preparing and not being pessimistic? Because pessimism is another type of mindset, they say.
Yes.
Who is they? But you don't want to be pessimistic. You just want to be flexible. You want to be, open-minded that something could happen.
I like that. So, to move away from this, I need to be very careful how I say this. To the guy who's fearing the loss. Number one, what are you fearing to lose and why? All right? And should you lose it, what are you going to do? Okay? So, because you have an opportunity to prepare for that loss. Now, how do you move from just focusing on that loss to continuing to live? We all need to have some kind of ritual that we go through every day. How do I wake up in the morning? How do I plan my day? And then the thoughts I have, how do I remain conscious about the thoughts that are going through my head? Because if I remain fixated on that loss, I will lose it. But once I've prepared for that loss, this could happen, so I have insurance, and should it happen, the insurance will help me, and I have memories of the better days. And then I keep going. Then I find what to focus on, so I'm not fixated on what I don't want, but I now start remaining fixated on what I want. Because many times people continue to compound the negativity that they don't want because they think about it and think about it and think about it, all right? And then they say, Frida, be realistic. The truth is I don't have any money. And continuing to think about how you don't have any money, how is that going to help you, Ankey?
Quite not. It's going to make it worse.
Exactly. Like this lady who didn't have money, she could have sat at home crying, twiddling her fingers that she doesn't have money. But I told her, count, what can you do? Because I see you're normal, you're healthy, what are some things that you know to do beyond that degree? Beyond the events that you want to start? Are there other things that you can do for people and they can pay you and you can put that money together and do something else? And that money may be little. Can you join a chama and start? Because all this business of also, oh, there are no investors, I don't know what. Nobody is giving you any more money. I don't have a sponsor. Nobody is giving you any more money until you can show how to make some money. Investors want to see how to grow their money. So a nice, good idea, you have not put your skin in the game. Why should I give you more money? But if you come and say, I sold my chairs, I sold my hair, so all these expensive things that we have on our body, if you could sell some of them and show somebody, this is the initiative I have taken. All right, would you help me?
Nice.
We always come empty-handed.
Yes.
I mean, Kiswahili we say mkono mtupu haulamwi. You can, I don't know how to translate that in English.
But we get the point. Like you need to, and I like when you said just start. Start. That's an overcomer's mindset. Start, begin. If you're watching this morning, just start. And if you still want clarity around that, keep asking your questions. Let me take this question by Mary Maria.
Yes.
She's saying, Ankey, ask Frida how to overcome the fear gotten from the childhood traumas.
Love it.
Yes.
History can be a good teacher or a bad master. So yes, you had trauma in your childhood, but now you are an adult, all right? So which of that trauma are you willing to let go? What do you need to replace in your thinking to make room for the life that you want today? Childhood trauma continues to torment us because we continue thinking about it, all right? And how we respond to that trauma now at an older age will determine the outcome that we have. We can decide, oh, I had a bad mother, I had a bad father, or we can decide they were doing the best that they know. I am here, I am alive, I am well. Who can help me? Because today there are therapists, not even today. Therapists have always been there. It has just been said that it was a white people disease.
And they said and usually it has been said it's very expensive as well. Which is also?
Talking about trauma, one, it would be good to have a therapist. And remember, we're talking about the areas we need to fortify. The first one is fortify your consciousness, is knowing who you are, and then your spirituality. Because when we go down, we are reminded there's a higher power that can help us. We don't need to go down before we look for the higher power. 3, our relationships. We need to audit our relationships. What's my relationship with my family? My children, my parents, whoever, how is it affecting me today? What are the adjustments I need to make? In every situation, there's an adjustment to be made. I liked how you said there's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. I want to grow out of that trauma. This is what happened to me. What is the help available today? Google is your friend, all right? So you need to have, outside Google, a group of trusted people that can give you feedback, that you can exchange value with, that you can talk to, and they can let you know, okay, this is the help you need, this is what you need to do. Because going through the journey of life alone is not, that word, is not easy. Life was not made for life was not made for us to walk individually. Life was made for us to walk corporately. And corporately means that supporting each other. We saw that during COVID. So we shouldn't go back to the stuff of what we're doing on our own. Out of COVID, the silver lining that came out of COVID was collaboration. The silver lining that came out of COVID is the ability for us to connect anywhere we are in the world if we have this thing.
True.
Yeah. Let's not go back to living alone, all right? COVID tried to do that to us by giving us social distancing, but we also discovered that we are better together. That is not a discovery that should have happened with COVID. Anybody who has spiritual fortitude will understand. Even God, there's God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. 3 in 1. So you, a mere mortal, how can you walk alone? At least have 3 friends.
I like how you throw those questions at us. Why are you walking alone this morning? A mere mortal.
Yes.
You know, but one thing that you said also that I picked is, even in overcoming the childhood traumas, it has to come from you.
It has to come from you.
Overcoming addiction. It has to. Everything is boiling around choices.
Your consciousness that I'm sick and tired of this thing. There has to be another way. or you're deciding that there's no other way and continuing here. And if you cannot on your own, find help. Find help. There's always help available.
There's always help available. And when I pick that from you, an overcomer's mindset, I believe you're an overcomer, but just the way you're speaking, you are an overcomer.
I'd like to be. I'm 56 today. Can you imagine the things I've overcome?
Is it okay to share a bit of your story? What are some of the things? Because somebody
I'll share one that I think will help people.
Yes.
I've lived abroad and I've lived at home.
Yes.
I want to share this particular story because I know there are many people in this country without work. All right, and we are Kenyans.
Yes.
I lived abroad without work, and what I did was I did what I could do to get to where I wanted. And one of the things I did was volunteer in churches, because I had a lot of time in my hands. So instead of watching TV all day, all night, I would find a church where I would serve, and I would serve using what I know. Okay. The background I have is organizational leadership and management. Most immigrant churches in America need help for volunteer management. So I would pick, in fact, I just picked one and I served in that church until I started my own business of consulting, doing what it is that I do today. I did not go in there knowing that I'll become a speaker, I'll start helping people to consult. I went into this church and I started serving. And serving means cleaning the floors when they're dirty, getting the bathrooms in order when they're not in order, and then calling people to volunteer. People hate volunteering, but volunteering is one way to get you to the top or to where you want. It gives you access to information. It gives you opportunity to serve and know what you're doing well and where you need to change. And it gives you a recommendation. So I was doing that because I had nothing to do. The job I had an 8-hour job. Then I had all this other time. Out of the work I was doing in this church, the church started changing. And they asked my pastor, what are you doing that your church is changing? You should tell us. And the pastor said, the only thing I've realized is different is there's a Kenyan girl who came to this church, and the things that she's doing is creating change. And these pastors would say, can she come to our church? Out of that, Ankey, I started what I call a church mystery shopper. And church mystery shopper is I'd come to your church and look at the things that are working, the things that can be done better, and I would give the pastor. And the next thing, I'd be called to train the church workers. I'd be called to set up strategy for the church and this and the other.
Yes.
And that's how I started Passion Profit, really. But I could have been sitting, oh, I'm abroad, I don't have this, I don't have the other. Yes. I have a mind, I have hands, I am well. The little that I know can add value to somebody else's life. And what goes round comes round. It has come round and it's continuing to come round. Today I have Passion Profit, Founders Profit Academy, Founders Network, Catalyst, on and on and on. So if you're sitting at home with nothing to do, I have lots of places you can volunteer.
Beautiful.
But do not come with the mind of thinking that I will give you fare or I will give you Wi-Fi. Nobody gave me fare, nobody gave me Wi-Fi. I did what I could because I was adding value. Today we are too bent on getting back before we have put in. No seed falls to the ground and germinates without time. So this business of, volunteering and looking at somebody one side, oh, I need airtime, oh, I need this, go sit down, go home, stay, leave that person alone, let them struggle on their own. Okay. And I'm being very serious. But if you're looking for serious opportunities to serve, I got plenty of them. Look for me.
All right, there you hear it. Just you want to do something with your life, here's even an opportunity to begin as a volunteer.
Not a job. Be very clear. Don't come to me for a job. If you're looking to use your time wisely and apply your talent while you're waiting for your next big thing, I will give you the opportunity. Find me.
And there's another thing you have said, the next big thing. There is a next big
Everybody
thing. And you have to begin to see
thing.
that. Yes. But some people don't see that. So they have to begin to actually see that. And that's what they call about being visionary. Is it that an overcomer has to be visionary? You have to know there's a next big thing.
You have to be visionary. That's why you must know what you want. What you want is your vision. What you want is normally a clear mental image of a future you prefer. That is vision, Ankey. All right? And you keep that in mind. Many of us are keeping in mind our situation now. I don't have money. My mother doesn't listen to me. My father doesn't. All these things. Society. Who else do we complain? No. Pull yourself out of that. All right? If all this was ideal, what would life look like for you? And where are you willing to start?
Where are you willing to start?
A very key thing again.
After you finish dreaming, there must be a place that you're willing to start. All right. I started in that church.
Yes.
I'd go every Saturday and clean the sanctuary and come on Sunday, not waiting for accolade. I didn't wait for anybody to tell me thank you. Today we volunteer, then we do feedback. Oh, they don't even appreciate me. My friend, appreciate yourself, because you're sowing the seed for yourself. It will germinate for you. All that is germinating for me today is not because I was told thank you. They appreciated me. They would tell me thank you. But I was diligent. I was faithful. We lack that today. We are too fixated on earning money. And while earning money is not wrong, there's lots we can do to get started.
All right, I'm picking more. I know time is moving fast. Allow me to also appreciate James Kenya watching from Kasarani saying, Frida's message should be heard worldwide. And because of that, I want to encourage you, if you're watching this morning, especially online, to tweet as much as you can, share as much as you can. Let us reach the entire world with Frida's message. And I like how they're calling it Frida's message.
I like that.
Frida,
let's Frida it.
Let's Frida it this morning. Now, you mentioned something that a lot of us overlook. Really, we've heard this over and over when motivational speakers come speaking to you, even in high school. They say, you know, carry a book and a pen. You know, there's power in putting it down.
Yes.
They say that a lot, don't they?
Yes.
Who is they? But of course,
the
it has been said.
Speakers,
the motivational speakers. And I just wanted you to touch on that. You know, the power of putting it down. And just because we've touched on vision as well, where do you want to be? And there's a way we say it a lot rather than put it down, but there has to be accountability for an overcomer.
Yes.
Yeah, and also you mentioned something about you. When you went to churches, you would put down what is working, what isn't working.
Yeah.
How vital is this?
It's extremely vital. Imagine if they didn't put down the Bible or other books of religion, we'd have nothing to refer to. And when you what do you want?
Yes.
I remember those days when I was working at the church. I never remember writing that I wanted to be a speaker or a trainer, but I was writing the kind of life that I wanted. I had a roommate. I was writing down the kind of place I'd like to live, the kind of car I'd like to drive. So there's this notion that, oh, you're being materialistic. It is your life. Find a journal. Write whatever pleases you. It is between you and your God. And as you write this, it will begin to inspire you what you need to do. My inspiration was to go and start serving in the church. And look at where it has brought me today. All right, it was not overnight. And that's the other thing.
Yes.
You write down what you want. What are you able to do today? Can you do it consistently? Because faithfulness, when you are faithful, your reward is for sure. Especially when you're faithful in those years that it looks like nothing is happening. Again, to the pregnant woman, you just know that you're going to conceive a child. You're trying to wear a big dress. I know nowadays you don't wear big dresses. Those days you try to wear a big dress so people can have an idea that you're having a baby or whatever. You're feeling weird and everything, but come 9 months, the stomach can be seen, and then you have the baby. So we must learn that life is a process. There's a time for sowing a seed, and there's a time for watering it. How do I water it? My thoughts, my words, my deeds must align with the seed that I have sown for the future that I want to create. My thoughts are mine. You cannot think for me. I hear them. When I hear them telling me things that I do not want, I can change. Or I can sit and stew on them.
Still, your choice.
So all this, it's a choice. It's neither hard nor easy, just do it.
It's neither hard nor easy, just do it. I really want to summarize this in a minute, so I'm going to allow you to put a powerful closing remark together. And as I come back to Frida, in Dr. Dweck's, seminal work, she described the two main ways people think, and of course we've explained that to you, the fixated mind and of course the growth mind. And I wanted just to conclude by saying it's all in your power.
It is.
And that is what you have said. It's your choice. You've talked about unlearning, relearning. You've talked about how do you start, just begin. Frida, how would you put this as we close? I wish we had more time. And I remember when we spoke earlier and you said the time might be short. And it surely is short. But I'm sure we have touched on somebody's,
I really hope so.
They have sent in their comments and we'll still have this online. But if we are closing this and someone is just tuning in, at least they would catch up with your closing remark. How would you close this today for, those who are actually open to overcoming and to actually acquiring this overcomer's mindset, what would be the inspiration as your closing remark in about 2 minutes?
We all have what it takes. All right. We all have what it takes to become whoever we'd like to be. The problem is we have not defined whoever, or we have allowed society, we have allowed them, our parents, our teachers, to define what we want to be. If you're listening to me and you're over 18, you have a desire to become something and you don't know where to start, look for me, I'll help you. That's my parting shot for you.
And I like when you say you need to reach out. Yeah. Sometimes you need to be the one to reach out. People always wait, oh, I'm skilled, I'm a great journalist, they're gonna see me somehow. Sometimes
there's lots of places for you to serve. You have 24 hours in a day. Just give me an hour or two and I'll help you sharpen that skill and you'll get connected. I'm not kidding.
Get connected. And something we need to talk about with time, I know we have a lot of episodes coming, is even the social capital, where the relationship is at. But Frida Omwinga, thank you so much for being a powerful speaker. I almost don't want to call you a guest today. You have been a speaker. I hope this has been, helpful to you and your loved ones. So we still hope that the impact will be felt worldwide. So keep sharing this particular message to people you love and to the entire world. Remember, I, Ankey Dorice, would rather the growth mindset, because like you said, life is not as predictable. If you have a fixed mindset, it might be just as hard. Thank you for watching. Look Up Business is coming up shortly by Simba Elijah Charles Kiage, one of the most intelligent men I have co-hosted with. Well, let me know. My name is Ankey Dorice. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Stay positive.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Hi there, my name is George Washuri. I am so happy to see you, and today I am here to enumerate, to explain how we package our land investment. We have 5 levels of our property, and we classify these levels as 1 star, 2 stars,